Hello guys, thanks for joining the weekly Fashion Bites chat. We have the lovely Sarah O'Rourke with us tonight. I'm Hillary, founder of the Fashion Bites platform. We're here to support and nurture creative entrepreneurs, filling in the gap between education and what happens in real life. This is our way to connect, collaborate, and share. Oh, it looks like we have Sarah with us. Let me get her on. One sec. Oh, we're just waiting for Sarah to come on. Yes, so we usually have educational panel discussions with industry experts, mainly talking about how to run your creative business. It's important to understand the various components involved in running your business and how many different hats you have to wear on a daily basis. But let's try again. Go. Yes, whether it's finance or PR and marketing, taking care of your mental health. Hello.
Great.
How are you?
Good. Yeah. How are you? How are you?
Good, good. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Oh, it's my pleasure. Delighted to be online with you.
Right. So we are pleased and delighted to have Sarah O'Rourke with us today. Sarah, please introduce yourself.
So my name is Sarah O'Rourke and I am the owner and founder of Saraden Designs Millinery. So I'm an Irish milliner and I hand make all my own fabric, and I've done several shows all throughout Europe: London Fashion Week, Belfast Fashion Week, Palma Hat Week, Leicester Fashion Week. I've done loads of things all over the place.
Which we're going to explore, of course.
Perfect.
Now, so with a degree in visual art, practice sculpture, how did you get into millinery?
Oh, so when I left school, I decided I wanted to do fashion, but I never did art in school. And over here, you need to have a portfolio. So I did a year of fashion, and I'll be honest, I absolutely hated it. I was like, no, I don't want to do this. I don't want to take this any further. So then I had to do another course to build a portfolio to get into art college. So I did that, and then I got into art college. And when you do visual arts practice, you can pick different levels like sculpture, photography, painting, all that kind of thing. So I stuck with sculpture, and I started to develop a fabric medium while I was there. And I didn't know I was going to kind of go into millinery or anything at that point. So I started to develop it, did it in college, got my degree. And then just by fluke, my mom was going to a wedding and asked me to make her a hat. And that's literally how it all began. So I started using my fabric to make the hats, and literally just how it began. Just by fluke, complete fluke. Like, I never thought I'd be a milliner, didn't really think I'd go back into fashion, and I really haven't looked back since. So thanks.
Oh, that's amazing. Thanks, Mom.
Exactly, yeah. So sorry.
No, go on.
Oh, I was just going to say, she encouraged me then to kind of take it a bit further. And my first thing was London Hat Week. That was, I think it was 2016 I did that. And then I just started applying for loads of different things and doing different fashion shows and events. And literally, that's it. That's how it began.
Oh, that really is very inspiring. Now, I read that you don't even sketch. You don't do sketches before you design a piece.
No.
Is that right?
I've never been a drawer. I never ever. My sister's the drawer in the family. She's really good at it, but that's not my skill. So what I do is I start to make a piece of fabric, and then I kind of have the idea in my head as to what I want to do. It doesn't always work out that way. I'll be honest, it doesn't always work out that way, but I give it a good go. And then because I'm the sculptor, so I always kind of sculpt the designs into shape. And, you know, that's how I create. I just kind of go in with the idea and start to sculpt all the fabric together. And as I said, sometimes it doesn't work and sometimes it really does work and it looks great then. So I'm delighted when it works out really well.
Oh, that's amazing. Now, besides your mom, where do you find your inspiration for your creations?
Do you know, I take it from kind of everyday life. I could see just, I could say, a color and think, oh, that would be really cool in a design. And then I really don't know how it works in my head. I'll be totally honest. I just maybe see the color and it starts, these cogs start to kind of work. And I'm like, oh, this would be great. I literally wake up sometimes in the middle of the night and it's like an epiphany has happened. It's like, oh, I must try this design. Things like that. Yeah, it's the weirdest thing. Or I might see a shape, or I might just say, oh, I want to just try this idea. It's weird how I can't really pinpoint how exactly I do it, but it just happens. Magic happens.
It works.
Exactly. And if the more I create as well, the more creative I become, if that makes sense.
Okay. Okay, excellent. And I know that you were a part of the Fashion Revolution Sustainable Fashion last year. You've become a part of that. How did that come about, and how important is being sustainable to you and your business?
So I never really set up the business with the intention of, you know, sustainable fashion. It's just something that I kind of stumbled across. And because the more I read into it, the more it was about like, who makes your fabric, who makes your hat. And I can relate to that because I make all the fabric, I make all the hats, I make everything to do with my design. So there's a, you know, you can trace it back to me, which I think is great because not a lot of people have that. And then when I did the event last year, I found it was a great way to connect with people. And then it was interesting to see that people outsource, whereas I don't outsource. You know, it's kind of interesting to see the different elements and how they run their businesses and how I run my businesses. I'll be honest, I wouldn't outsource because my fabric is my niche, and I don't share that with anybody. It's my thing. And then all my cutoffs for my fabric get reworked back into other designs, so there literally is no waste left behind, which is great. Yes, it's no waste left behind, which is great.
But how, so, I mean, the campaign was amazing because it's who made your clothes was the format. And I think it's quite important for the transparency with the supply chain. Did you find that it's great for your business, but then with people that outsource, was there still the same transparency, you think?
Well, I was asking, you know, do you make your own clothing? And it wasn't out of a sustainability. It was more of an interest as a designer, like where do you find the time, you know, that kind of thing, and do you do it at home? And I was surprised to find that some people actually don't make it themselves, and a lot did now. A lot of them did make their own clothes, but a lot of them did outsource, and I was quite surprised personally by it. But then some people that had followed me, they were saying that it was nice to put a face to the creations as well, so that was quite a nice thing. And you know, that show last year was the first time I ever got to see my work on a runway. I never got to see it before because normally I'm backstage, so it was lovely to actually get to see them on a runway. I was like, oh, this is, you know, it's quite nice, and you kind of feel this proud moment as well.
Right, absolutely. Now you were also part of the virtual Ladies' Day.
Yeah, so over in Ireland, horse racing is a big thing, which I'm sure over there as well with Ascot and everything. So they're doing a lot of virtual Ladies' Day over here because obviously everything's shut down, unfortunately. So myself and my mum have been creating, well, no, I've been creating and she's been wearing for me. No, she does everything for me that I ask. So we've been dressing up and just taking different photographs at home, and then I made a lot of the designs new, and then I recycled some of my designs like from London Fashion Week and everything, just to kind of mix it up a bit. And you know, it gave me a sense of kind of creation again, because I mean, everything's been cancelled here. Shows have been cancelled, weddings, everything's been cancelled. So it was lovely to just get stuck in and create, and you know, really get the juices flowing. And you know, it makes you realize I haven't lost it yet. Yes. And are your designs one-off? Do you ever repeat anything? I kind of repeat elements of some of the designs, but for the most part they're one-off, because you can't repeat the fabric. Once I create a sheet of fabric, I can't replicate it again. So it's completely unique. So say if you came to me and said, oh, I want this design, your design is bespoke to you, I can't replicate it exactly again. And I don't use patterns as well. I kind of just freehand cut all the designs. So I know it sounds crazy when you kind of say this, you know, a designer saying this, but I do. I freehand them and then do that, and it works for me. It might not work for everybody, but it works for me. And then we've done about, I think, 10 Ladies' Day. There's one at the end of the month as well. I haven't been able to do all of them, obviously. It's very time consuming to do it. But and then the money we pay like a little fee, and it goes to a charity. Sometimes it's charity of your choice, or sometimes it's their charity. So I mean, for that, I don't mind doing that. You know, it's a great cause all the time. It's different charities all the time, but they're all great causes. So you know, it's worthwhile doing, and gets my designs out there as well.
Yes, absolutely. You mentioned London Fashion Week, because I'm in London. saying London Fashion Week. Was that, being a part of that, was that a solo show, or was it a collaboration with designers, or both?
So it was a collaboration with designers. It was my first kind of fashion show that I'd done, proper fashion show. And my designs got matched with another girl's dresses. And I'll be honest, like, her dresses were fabulous, nothing against her dresses. But for me, I just felt like the hats and the dresses didn't go together. So from then, it was just, the whole thing's a learning curve, I think, to do with fashion design. It's all a learning curve. So what I then took from that is to create my own dresses for future shows, which is what I've been doing. So I tend to just create one color dress, and then match them to the hats. So the focus is on the hats, but you still have a dress that's going to match with my designs. So
Right.
that's what I took from that anyway. But it was a collaboration anyway. It was good. It was an experience. I take everything as a learning experience. I learn something new at every show, every event that I do, and I take it away. And also every event is different. Every organizer is different. So I just take what I can. And then I teach as well, so I kind of like to pass that on to some of my students. They're only children, but it's still, you know, it gives them future, you know, something to look forward to in the future, and a little bit of information, you know.
Yeah. Yes, absolutely. So if I came to you as a designer, a clothing designer, and I said, you know, I need hats or headpieces for my collection, what process would you go through? How would you work out what would work for my collection?
Well, colors would be a big thing, because obviously I'm not going to put green with a luminous something, you know, it probably won't work. You need to discuss the colors and see if there's a theme that they're going with, or there's a theme that we're both going to follow, and just you know, communicate together and see what we want to create, and see what their direction wants to be, what my direction wants to be, and see how we can work together and make that work, because my idea might not work with their idea. So communication is the most important thing, because there's no communication, there's not much point. You know, you want both designers to be happy at the end of the day.
Yes, yes, absolutely. Now, without giving away any trade secrets, which I know you're not, how do you make your own fabric?
My own fabric.
Yes.
So it's different fibers combined together, and you know, no matter how many shows I do or events, everybody has their own opinion as to how the fabric is made. And I'll be honest, no one's actually ever guessed it, but the people will tell me, they'll say, oh, it's felting, and I've never felt it in my life, so it's definitely not felting. And everybody has an opinion. I'm just like, no, it's not. And you know, people actually get really annoyed that I won't tell them, but it's my niche. I'm not going to tell you how to do my design for you to go on and do it yourself. Do you know, that kind of so yeah, people do get really annoyed by it. So it's different fibers combined together, and I have a few different techniques for how I actually do it, which obviously I'm not going to divulge, but it's basically just fibers all combined together, and then I'll pick the colors, you know, if it's to match somebody's dress, or it's say for a bride or that kind of thing, then I'll go with the color and create the combinations. Then it can sometimes be different color fibers as well, so it'll give a certain specific color to the design. Right. And then a lot of my embellishments as well, I get from charity shops. I actually shop in charity shops. If it's like a necklace, you see, I'd break it up and use the beads or the chains or that kind of thing. I mean, why not? Reuse, recycle, and all that.
You're literally doing the whole sustainability, zero waste. I mean, you're really, really championing that.
But you know, I was taught this by my mum from a young age. We used to buy clothes, for example, from Primark as children, and we'd upcycle them ourselves at home. And she'd never let us throw out, you know, cardigans with buttons. We'd always cut off the buttons, or if something has beads on it, we keep the beads and all that kind of thing. So I learned that from my mum, and you know, it actually is a great way to, you know, to get new products without spending a huge amount of money, and also, you know, sustainability, you're contributing to that, and you know, it's great. And then also for example, for the ladies' days, we've been going to charity shops to get like different handbags, different shoes, because I don't really want to go out and spend an absolute fortune on brand new things every time when there's perfectly good. Some stuff still has labels on it, which, you know, why not? That's my motto, why not?
Absolutely. So does that mean you've been sewing your whole life then?
Yeah, I started when I was about 4. Since I was about 4, between knitting, embroidery, hand sewing, machine sewing, everything. Yeah, I've just been doing it since I was a child. It's a second nature to me. I don't really have to think about it. Like when we were younger, my friends used to give me their clothes if buttons fell off, if there was a hole, and I'd be sewing them back together then. So, you know, it's I don't really have to think about it. And then I moved on to teaching children. Now I'm teaching children at the minute how to make fashion pieces with a company called Project Fashion. So I'm kind of influencing the younger generation of it.
Absolutely. We have to, especially now.
That's it, exactly, yeah.
We have
And they've been dying to come back because some of them go to after school class as well. And it's great for them just to do some, because obviously everyone's been in lockdown for so long. So this is just,
Yes.
and it's actually lovely to see some of my students again, because obviously I haven't seen them since March. It's, you know, the whole thing's been crazy.
Yeah. It's a bit of confusion, let's say.
A little bit, yeah. Just a little bit.
Do you have a mentor, or have you had a mentor throughout the process?
Well, I suppose my mum probably would be my mentor, because she's literally taught me everything that I know, and she still does teach me new things. She's amazing with her hands, all the different embroidery things she does, crochet, knitting, she can literally turn her hand to everything. So she'd definitely be a mentor of mine. Yeah, and when I have shows and that kind of thing, and she can see, so you know, designers crumble under the stress sometimes. She'll jump in and she'll help me, which is fantastic, because sometimes I really just need the help. It's just me, so when she jumps in, it's great.
Oh, amazing, amazing. So with having your business and being an entrepreneur, we know that, pardon the pun, there are a lot of hats to wear.
Oh, yes.
During the process. What did you find was like your biggest challenge that you needed to overcome being a business owner?
Well, I went into the business, I'll be honest, I just went in and said, right, I'm going to start designing. I never really thought about having a website, about doing social media accounts. I did work in kind of digital marketing before, but it's different when it's your own accounts, you know, that kind of way. So I didn't think about the website, about any of that. And even to do with doing your taxes, it's a whole eye-opener, the whole thing. And I do my own website myself. I do literally everything myself, and it's taken an awful lot of researching and learning, and like, I love to learn, so I take on the challenge every time. And it's the whole thing is very complicated. It's not just the designing end, but you have to maintain your social media, you have to maintain your website, you have to even buying your own stock. There's a lot of research that goes into your stock, you know, your products and your stock, and your just the whole thing. It's mind-boggling sometimes, and there's still new things that I have to learn and new things that I have to research. So I can never say I know everything and I understand everything, because I don't. Even for millinery, I don't necessarily follow traditional methods, but I will look at traditional methods and kind of think, oh, well, how can I use that in my work, you know, that kind of way. So
right. And thank you very much for sharing that, because I don't think a lot of people understand, you know, the idea of working for yourself. It's just amazing, isn't it? But you don't really understand how much work it really is.
There's no such thing as a day off. There's never a day off. Even if you're on holidays, you constantly have to have your phone. Yeah, there's no such thing as a day off. It's hard work. I mean, I like to kind of tell people the reality of it, because if you want to be a designer, it's not all fairies and fluff. It's a lot of late nights, a lot of sleepless nights. It's hard. And then in Ireland as well, fashion isn't really as big here, I don't think. I do believe you have to go abroad more. Now, I don't want to move out of Ireland. I want to stay here and I want to make it work here, but I'm not afraid to go abroad as well and do different things abroad, because you're opening your network as well, you know.
Absolutely.
You know, and you have to make sacrifices as well in this, you know. You have to sacrifice holidays, you have to sacrifice clothes, you have to sacrifice loads of things. But I love what I do, so I'm not afraid to do that. I'm not afraid to get stuck in, and I'm not afraid to, I have to do this job over here to make money to be able to do my hats over here. I'm not afraid to do that, because you have to. Yeah, you have to. Right. You have to put the time in.
With your creative students, what would be the best piece of advice you would give them? Them wanting to be in this crazy world of fashion?
Well, my company motto is create for yourself and then for the world. So I think you need to create for yourself and love what you do. There's no point in doing something that you don't love to do. If you're making 500 hats and you hate it, why are you doing it? You know, why are you doing? You need to find your own niche as well, whether it's textiles, fashion, hats. You just need to find your own niche and be happy with it, and be happy with your work as well.
Oh, wonderful. Wonderful. But you said that the fashion scene, let's say in Ireland, is small. Is there a network or a community that you're involved in, or? How do
Well,
you do it?
there's the Craft Council of Ireland and the Fashion Council of Ireland as well. Now, I'm actually not involved with either. I have applied to the Craft Council, and the Fashion Council actually rejected me so last year. So I haven't actually tried for them again. I don't know if I will, to be honest. Just from a few things that I've heard. But I am a part of Visual Arts Ireland because I do consider my pieces wearable art as well. They're sculptural pieces. They're not just fashion. I like to kind of think that I'm a bit of art and fashion together, not just in the one category, if I'm honest. Yeah. Not just categorized as one. Yeah.
No, amazing, amazing. What has been your proudest career moment so far?
I won an award last year. I won Milliner of the Year last year in November, with the High Style Awards in Ireland. And I actually got nominated then in, I think it was March this year, for another award, but sadly coronavirus happened, so I'm not sure what's happening with that now. So, but yeah, no, the award definitely, and people take you a lot more serious when you can say I'm an award-winning designer. I do find that people do take you a little bit more serious, and it's a proud moment. You know, I did it. I beat some top, milliners in Ireland, so I was quite happy with that, and I got a little award.
Absolutely.
And everything, so I was delighted. Yeah, absolutely thrilled.
And congratulations.
Thank you very much.
So during this time, obviously for creatives, it isn't a time to have extra naps. How are you spending that time? How are you being your creative self?
Well, do you know what? I made a list at the start of lockdown because I had a panic moment. It was really a kind of, what am I going to do? So I made a list, and I've been working my way, still to this day, working my way through the list. And it was a lot of things were things that I put on the back burner. It's things even just to do with the website and all that kind of thing. So I've been creating new designs, making new plans for the likes of bridal collections and communions and confirmations. A lot of that's been postponed. So hopefully next year there'll be loads of business with that. And then I've just been creating new designs, doing new techniques. I do another thing called my Saraden illustrations. It's not just Saraden millinery I do. So I create fabric and sew portraits into the fabric for people. So I've been trying to get that online as well. I had to separate the two businesses out because when I was applying for different things, they didn't want to see the illustrations in with the millinery. So I've separated the two businesses out now. So trying to get all the social media for that done and the website for that done. But again, it's not easy. It's not easy trying to juggle everything. And then I went back to teaching as well then a few weeks ago. So it's not easy trying to juggle everything, but I'm trying to do everything and just do everything and anything that I can. And I didn't like that. The amount of people that said, "Oh, I've been bored," I didn't have one bored moment. I've just kept going, kept going, kept going.
There's no time for boredom.
There's no time. I kind of wish that we went back into lockdown, or I reversed time so I could get more done. Nearly, it's ridiculous.
Absolutely. It's funny you said that, because at the beginning I think we all had that moment of panic, because this was meant to be the year of all years, that everything was going to be just fabulous.
Oh yeah.
But then you had to take a breath. I mean, some people took longer than others. I cried just a little bit.
You're allowed though. You're allowed, because at the start of the year I had New York Fashion Week approach me. But then coronavirus happened, so nothing's happened with that. And then they said I could do next February, but I think it's going to be normal next February. Am I going to be able to go to New York? So I haven't done anything with it because I can't do anything with it at the moment. Yeah. So.
Oh my goodness, that would be so amazing.
Oh, and I've had loads of different emails as well. Milan Fashion Week actually approached me as well. But again, do I invest the time and money into it? Because we don't know what's going to happen. It's a scary time. We don't know what's going to happen. And 2 days ago here, new restrictions are put in place as well. So, we're kind of going backwards, not going forwards. Hard to know what to do.
Yeah. Oh gosh. Given normal times, let's say normal times, how do you manage your PR and marketing?
I have to make schedules. I literally have to schedule everything. I have alarms going off on my phone all day, every day, just to remind me to do different things. Even there a few weeks ago, I bought a whole lot of whiteboards and writing notes all over them, because I need to keep track of what I'm doing, what needs to be done. It's a juggling act sometimes. It really is. And then trying to schedule as well. I don't really like scheduling, I'll be honest. I like to kind of post it live, because they put all the affiliations and all onto it. I don't like that. So I do try to post live, but sometimes you have to, you literally just have to.
Yeah. I'm not necessarily a fan of social media. but I do try to schedule, because otherwise it won't happen, because I'll just say no later, literally. All the time.
I've tried to do drafts and that kind of thing, draft posts, so at least they're there ready to go live. I can just press post and then they'll go live. But I mean, I found myself at one stage setting alarms for 2-3 o'clock in the morning to try post online, because they're the appropriate times to post, and I just said, no, I'm not doing this anymore. I need my sleep. I don't get enough sleep as it is, so waking up at those times is just stupid.
That dedication, let's call it mad dedication.
Can't wait till I have my own PR person. They could be getting up at that time in the morning.
Oh my God. See, now that with teaching, you could find, you know, some help there, or, you know, some kind of intern, possibly.
That's it. I did have a girl actually asked me to do it this summer, but obviously then coronavirus happened, so that was the end of that. It's ruined a lot of things this year, I'm not gonna lie. A lot of things have just kind of vanished this year. So
paused. They haven't vanished.
Paused.
They've paused.
I like your version better. Paused.
Oh my goodness. That was totally quick and wonderful. Thank you so much for spending this time with us.
Thank you very much.
And thanks, guys, for tuning in. Join us again next week. We have our guest, a women's wear fashion designer, Daniel Blake. Until then, thank you so much.
Bye-bye. Bye.
Bye.